Hello and welcome back to the Diamond Drive Cup Season 2, Round 3, the halfway point in the championship, live here on RCI TV from the lovely Suzuka circuit in Japan. I'm Jesse Lee, joined by Nate, and as always, Stewie, the broadcaster behind the pictures. Nate, it is a smaller field of cars here today, and that is going to change the championship at the halfway point, decidedly so.
Yeah, a couple of the heavy hitters have pulled out of tonight's race, so it's definitely opened the top of the championship up, which means obviously a lot of the faster people have pulled out, which means some of the people who may not have the chance to get on the podium could sneak a potential podium in today.
Yes, they sure can. And also, the overarching championship points could be affected here and will be affected here as well. The most notable thing, Nate, early is that there is one pro driver.
Yeah, I couldn't help but notice that. Uh, so I mean, odds are for a good chance in pro if you're there, guaranteed podium. But looking at it, it seems to be that our Silver and Anfield are quite close to one another in terms of their size, anyway, not in terms of the standings. But it's gonna be a good one. Like you said, only one pro driver, so a couple of people who might not normally be on the podium can definitely sneak their way in there. And as we saw from the last race, it can completely turn itself on its head at any point during the race, especially here at Suzuka. A couple of the fast corners, like 130R, could catch a few drivers out. Some overtaking opportunities into the hairpin. There's guaranteed action here, and it's one of my favorite tracks. So I'm glad to be here.
Well, certainly it is going to be an interesting day, and we hope that you will follow along with us to find all of the. What we're going to try and do is point out all of the differences in the championship and how they're going to all play out, because certainly there will be. We still do have the three classes, obviously, Pro, Silver, and AM, just in a tighter field today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward. Obviously, the big hitters coming out from Silver. Well, there you can guarantee one or two of them will definitely be on the podium. I'm looking forward to seeing the ever quick Fury April, who currently sits top of the table, and obviously Nicole Fox always there as well. So again, like I said, looking forward to that. Hoping they can sneak a couple podiums. Hoping a couple people who may not have had a chance yet to taste the champagne can get a chance to be up there as well. The AM battles are going to be good as well. This, I feel like Suzuka is not so much an even playing field, but maybe some of the drivers who can't quite go as quick at the quote-unquote fast tracks because they have a more technical driving style will excel here. So really looking forward to seeing how this shakes it up, because you've really got to think about where you're going to make your passes. It's not quite as simple, especially because at some parts of the track, if you make a bad move and you end up off the track, there's the walls are quite close. But not only that, as we always see, the field is quite close. Sorry there, I had to adjust myself for the long pause. As we head into qualifying, obviously we'll spend the first 10 minutes, well, with Pro and Silver, and then the second 10 will be with the AM field. Oh, sorry, first 15 Pro Silver, second 15 AM, apologies. But yeah, looking forward, like I said, I think it's definitely going to be Fury April, Nicole Fox up there. But then I'm not sure who could sneak the third place position. I'm hoping, but due to my own selfish reasons, that Vandenberg can sneak the top three for qualifying and maybe sneak a race win.
Well, one of my favorite things is that we're supposed to be impartial, and when you and I get in the booth, we say, we've decided not to play fair. But certainly, I think a lot of people are cheering for those or that particular driver, and I have my favorites as well. The difference between you and me, Nate, however, I am going to not say that because I don't want people to hate me after the race. Well, if you are new to the Diamond Drive Cup, here's how qualifying works. The first 15 minutes of qualifying for the pro and the silver drivers. The second 15 minutes is all for the AM drivers, all to themselves. Everybody gets about 15 minutes apiece, or exactly 15 minutes apiece, I should say. All flying laps count at the end of the qualifying session, and that is how we set the grid for every single week here in the Diamond Drive Cup. And this being the only pro on the grid this week, Sarah Dove, as Mia Swinson has signed out for the entire championship.
Yeah, I noticed that shortly before we went live. I was quite shocked to see that, especially given the solid performance they had last time out at Misano. But I guess the disappointment of the lost win was too much to take.
Yeah, and if that is the case, that's unfortunate because they didn't actually lose it. They lost first place overall, obviously, but they still won in pro, and that's good. That's good enough for me, and I think everybody was incredibly proud of that accomplishment. But rather unfortunate, and also, of course, Rose is not in the championship as well. But I believe that's because they're focusing on different championships, I believe.
I believe it's SRO, if I'm not mistaken, which, if I can kindly do a shameless plug, I want to give a huge congratulations to a personal friend of mine. His name's Jordan Grant Smith, who has actually just qualified for the SRO esports event that is coming up, and he actually qualified second overall. So big congratulations to him, and I'm looking forward to cheering him on.
We giving personal shout outs now. That's fantastic. Give a shout out to my personal MVP, Stewie, for bringing you this race and many other races throughout the entire week. And of course, he's doing that now as well. Sarah Dove on the clock for the very first timed lap of the qualifying session in the 177 Les race McLaren. And of course, we are at the world famous Suzuka. Where are you with Suzuka, Nate? Are you a fan, or is this a track that you'd rather skip?
No, I absolutely love Suzuka. I've only got good memories here. I think 2 months into owning ACC, I signed up for the CHSR endurance event that was run last year. That RCI so fantastically participated in. Was it last weekend? No, weekend before. And yeah, first time with my team, so I was still the new boy, fresh faces, trying to impress everyone. And we were it was Suzuka in the 911, the car that I so much dislike, so greatly dislike. But I actually started off with it's an up and down roller coaster. I hope you're buckled in, folks. So we qualified 18th out of 26 cars, which isn't fantastic, but it's not the worst. Anyway, I got the car to the grid, and I started the engine as you do, as everyone who plays AC knows. You start the engine, you drive, all that fun stuff. And then I paused the game to adjust the audio setting, and it kicked me to the pit lane, and I couldn't quite believe it. But so started from the pit lane, dead last, and had to fight my way back up the field. And I actually, by the time after the first hour of pit stops, was up to 14th. So yes, only good memories for me at Suzuka. I absolutely, even not here, even in other video games, even to watch, I absolutely adore Suzuka. It's just, like I said, it's a technical track, and it really rewards the driver who can perhaps take care of their car a little bit better than those around them.
I think that's very well said. Well, if you do like Suzuka at home, the 10-hour of Suzuka race, the finale of the RCI Endurance World Championship, in about 3 to 4 weeks from now here on RCI TV. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell. Make sure you don't miss that. It is the final race in what has been a long and grueling World Championship all endurance races. It's going to end here, 10 hours in I think the month of June, indeed. Yes. But today we have Diamond Drive qualifying ahead of the 60-minute race today. Dove the quickest with a 201.266, about 1/10 quicker than Fury April, and Fox, who just went to second now in the 202. And Dove improves as well at a 2-minute .744. So that gave a little bit more breathing room for Dove. And Fox attempts to close in, and now 0.6 down to April in third place. Vandenberg in fourth, and now Natalie Lee in the 19 goes up to the 5th place position.
Yep, I'm definitely hoping the table switch around a bit. Like I said, this week I'm extremely biased. I definitely have a favorite driver this week. I'm not going to say for a fear of commentator's curse, but yeah, Dove up there on pole with or pretty much a 2-minute flat. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get anyone to top that, or if Dove will just park it and call it a day. Be like, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going quicker than that.
Very nice indeed. Alice Horton, 7th place, currently 1.5 off the overall pace, and does improve. I was tracking that improvement, and it ended up being better than I even expected. A 201.470, just 3/4 of a second behind the pro driver of Dove, and just about half a second off of Fox. This is Fury April's in-car cam, the Swift Shark 717 Porsche. Going around, I forget what this isn't, I forget what this is called.
Spoon.
It escapes me.
Spoon curve.
Spoon, that's right. It's spoon. I always called it spoon corner, and I always get corrected that it's spoon curve. But either way, coming down the very long straightaway, that is an uphill battle all the way. And this looks like this might be an improvement for the 717.
130R is such a terrifying corner, because you feel like you've got everything under control, and then I've seen it done. You just touch the curb and it unsettles the car just that tiny bit, but because of the speeds, it just spits you out. It's so quick. You have such little time to react to it, and before you can really realize what the heck is going on, you are pointing into a tire barrier.
Yes, indeed. I like the chicane that I call the triangle. I'm not sure that's appropriate. I know at one point it was called the Casio triangle, but I don't think it's been called that in many years. But I still call it the triangle without the branding. And, of course, 130R. My favorite turn, though, is actually 2 turns. It's the Degners. The Degners is my favorite turn here at Suzuka. It's so satisfying when you hit it just perfectly right.
Yeah, Degner 1 is so quick, but you have to really watch that inside curve. And Degner 2, don't get me wrong, I enjoy that, but not as much as I enjoy the first one. The second one just feels sort of clumsy, especially if you've had a bad entry to Degner 1 and you're trying to collect the car and keep it pointing forward. Then you're trying to squirrel your way through the corner, and it just feels really clumsy. But I think that's maybe my issue, because I'm perhaps not the best at navigating Degners 1 and 2.
You just said the Degners is clumsy. I don't know if I can speak to you anymore, but I must go on. I love the response from chat earlier. We're talking about being biased towards. We were joking, of course, but talking about being biased towards other drivers. I love the ferocity in the chat. To be like, I'm not. I'm completely biased. The honesty and the passion there, absolutely. Love it. Of course, in chat, feel free to cheer on your favorite driver or drivers in today's race. Show them your support. I'd quite like to see who you're all cheering for as well, as we have just about 4.5 minutes in the Silver and Pro qualifying session today. And Abrils Karlsvaart is going to try and get out of basically the basement, and does improve by 1 position A 202.055, still not quite where Karlsvard would want to be, but it does get them out of the immediate danger for being bottom. What would you think here, Nate, as Jenny Kamugli for Gayzilla 95's coming through, and it's going to be an improvement, but no additional step. Would you mind being the last silver car here today, being right close to the AMs? Would that bother you? Would you prefer to be in the middle of the silver field?
Personally, no, I wouldn't mind. I'm low silver on a good day, you know. I'm not very quick, as we see Kamugli getting a little bit sideways, having a good time. It's definitely not going to bring any lap improvements though. As we see the onboard here, a little bit tail happy. Someone play the Tokyo Drift song. But no, for me personally, I wouldn't mind being close to the AMs. I'm a low silver driver, I acknowledge that, and it's probably my place to be down there. The only part that worries me, and I'm not saying it specifically here at DDC, it's anywhere you go, be it DDC, RCI races, you know, any endurance championship, is sometimes AMs do feel like they've got something to prove against silver drivers. Maybe not so much against the pro ones, but you see them making those first lap dives just to try and gain as many positions as they can. They haven't quite got the patience to wait for the car ahead of them to maybe make a mistake or wait for them to be faster. So it can result in some first lap incidents, which does ultimately ruin your race. But ideally, no, I wouldn't want to be down there. But personally, yes, my personal pace is down there.
Honestly, I mean, I think it adds a little something for me. I've certainly been the last qualifier in a certain class and been started right up next to another class. It's always a little bit of extra danger, but it is no more different to me, to be fair, than if I was in the middle of a silver class or whatever class it is. I've certainly been a prototype in mixed class races and been taken out, though, by a GT car that's a little overzealous getting into turn one, despite the fact that, you know, obviously there's going to be a pace difference there. But sort of in that, you got to know that is a possibility, but I'm not sure that is a problem with our Anfield. Keep in mind, Diamond Drive Season 1, the silver drivers said that they were more of an obstacle than the AMs seem to have been, as Vandenberg goes back into fourth place after being dropped down to fifth for a moment by Horton, 201.098 for the number 14 Bentley, the GTWR team, getting it done. And this is Nicole Fox in the 202 next round racing Audi, holding on solidly to second place, been chipping away at Dove. And of course, if a silver does out qualify a pro, well, that's just how they start.
Watching the timings, Jesse, Fox is going quicker, and if she can hold this time that she's gained, she will go pole. So this is going to be an interesting one. But Fox always shows tremendous pace. I feel like Fox may be the new Fury April from season 1. Obviously, if you joined us for season 1, you know Fury April was Am, who's constantly up battling with the pros, and we constantly got questions, why is Fury April Am? We know they were quick, it was just a way the tables fell. But Fox, yeah, I feel like Fox may be our new April in terms of the fact that she's constantly rapid, and she's always on the back of the pro drivers, keeping them honest.
I believe we talked to Nicole Fox after season 1.
There it is.
Nicole Fox will go to the very top of the board, a 2-minute point 666, the absolute time to beat. And Sarah Dove will have done well to stay out on the course. The qualifying session is ending. All flying laps count, of course. Natalie Lee comes across the line. It is an improvement. They will be 6th. And Sarah Dove, who I said, very smart decision to stay out on the track, because they are going to have actually the last shot, I'm pretty sure. Nope, no. Karlsvard is out as well, but they will have the second to last shot to reclaim this. They only need 3/4 of a tenth or so, Nate. It is very doable.
It is, but it's not looking like it's going to be on this lap. Not the best sectors for Dove. Let's see if she can make time up through the chicane. But it doesn't look like it's going to be enough unless a miracle happens. I say that, the time did come down. She did just gain 3 attempts in the final chicane. It's going to be real tight. Can she do it? No, not quite enough. Unfortunate, but a valiant effort nonetheless.
Solid effort for Dove there, not quite going to be able to get it done. And April's Karlsvard, who was absolutely going for it, is going to make a mistake that oh so many race car drivers make. A little bit too much inside curb. A Porsche equals usually wall, but didn't get there in this particular instance. And that will end qualifying for the top. Nicole Fox on the pole provisionally, and I say provisionally, of course, because there's nothing that says Witcher or Rangsetter or any of these drivers in AM can't get up there and say something about the pole position. Well, the 202 for right now, Fox is on pole over Dove and April, and Vandenberg fourth. Horton, Lee, Karlsvard, Erwin, Johnson, Kamugli are the top 10 right now as qualifying starts for the AMs.
If I asked you right now, Jesse Lee, one Mr. Jesse Lee, the man who always does the math, your AM class pole position, who do we think?
I'm assuming Witcher just based on track record, but Witcher has gotten close to being beaten. I think it has been beaten at some point in the past season and a half that we have done. But I think it's hard to bet against the number 12 Bentley at this point.
See, I would put all my cards on pink, all my chips even on pink for header Rangsetter. Those two, Rangsetter and Witcher, are always good to watch because they're always quite close to each other, and qualifying, you never know which one of them's going to come out on top. But I'm putting my money on Rangsetter. I don't know why, I just got a good feeling.
I think that the way that you're smirking at me makes me think that you have insider information, Nate, and I'm not so sure if I'm being set up here, but I'll take that bet. I love the Witcher Rangsetter battle, and I don't think we're going to see anything different here today. I feel like it's going to be very much as advertised, but it's a good bet. I'll take you up on that.
I wish I had insider info. I don't, but you gotta make the combox a little bit spicy, and I don't mean taking off your clothes.
Well, here is your pick. Head a Rangsetter coming across the line. That's going to be a 202.337, the current mark to beat. What does the field have? And Celine Witcher goes top and goes all the way up to 9th place in the number 12 Bentley, but that's just lap 1. Getting some remarks from the broadcast team here that they were surprised Rangsetter's lap was as quick as it was, considering it did not look on camera like it was going to be that quick. I must say I have to agree. I think that merely shows just how quick Rangsetter is. And you remember what Jeremy Clarkson always used to say with the star in a reasonably priced car? He always used to say, usually the fastest laps look slow. And I get what he means by that. What he means is the slower looking the lap is, the more mundane it is, but usually the faster. But whatever the reason is, I think we all agree that Rangsetter could have. They only need about 3/10, and I reckon they could have it here.
Yeah, but Witcher is up this lap on their best time, so we'll have to wait and see. But I I feel like maybe I should take a leaf out of your book and done the math. But no, I'm hoping because there is always time to be gained. Always time to be gained. So we'll have to see how close they get to one another and see how far up into the silver board they can climb. You never know. We may see Witcher. I mean, Witcher was just half a second up, which would put them. Where's that? JC Lee, help me out here with the math.
If
Put
they
them
were
7th.
That would definitely put them 7th. Here comes Celine Witcher around in the number 12. What can they do? They're 9th already. They're forging into the silver field. Well, that's going to be an improvement on the scoreboard by about 3/10, but it will not move them out of 9th place. It will tie them with Sophie Erwin, by the way, but based on the fact that Erwin ran that lap first, they will be still 9th. Will Witcher, as Sierra Thomas in the thigh highs for Nate, number 5, does a 2:03.441. And that will put them into 14th place. The 9-9, the 11, and the 2, we assume invalidated their first lap because we know that they were out there. So we assume they invalidated their first lap. But here is Marsh coming through, putting in a lap on the board, put into the 15th place. And just about 8 minutes left to go here in qualifying. Looking good for Witcher and Rank Setter. We pretty much told you that we expected them to be the class of the field. Looks like it early.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye glued to the. Oh, what's going on here then? Guys, it's qualifying. It's not the race yet. Calm down.
You're not going to make time like this, are you, Nate? Right up close to somebody like that.
No, the smart thing to do would be to drop back. I mean, is that Thomas? Is it Sierra Thomas in the number 5 McLaren there? The smart thing to do would be to make the space. There's no one behind them. They've got. Well, there is a couple cars behind them, but enough that they can make a gap and have enough space ahead of them and behind them that if the car ahead of them makes a mistake, it won't cost them time, and if they make a mistake, they won't cost the car behind them time. But being tucked up like this is silly because the car ahead of you, or at least personally for me, when a car's that close to me, I get tense, and then I brake early, I brake late, my steering inputs are a little bit all over the place because I'm trying to avoid any contact that may appear to me as we see double on the pit straight. But yeah, it's never just back off, make the space. There's no need to be that close as they're still nose to tail. It's qualifying because if Sierra is quicker than Eris, they're not gonna go anywhere because they're just gonna be held up behind the Lexus. So yeah, it would make sense to back off and just create the gap, but yeah.
Well, Rank Setter does go to pole. You're seeing double on the front straight, and I was amazed by that lap time. I reckon they had quite a bit more, did Rank Setter, and indeed showing that they did. 8th overall, first in the AM class, and it is game on for the pole in the AM class right now. Just about 3/4 of a 10th in it between Rangsetter and Witcher right now. Rangsetter immediately after running that very rapid lap reset to pit lane, either got some new tires or made some adjustments and came back out. Witcher is still out. Speaking of, here is Celine Witcher in the number 12 turn 1 Diamonds BMW, or excuse me, that's a Bentley. Do you know the most interesting thing about that? That is not a me problem. That is a everybody problem. I've noticed that whenever Radio Le Mans or I forget the other one, whenever they do any sort of SRO or Le Mans coverage where there are Bentleys and BMWs, they always get them confused. It's the same thing with VLN and the Nürburgring. I don't know why. There's something about the BMWs and the Bentleys. I guess maybe it's a B sound, but all of us commentators, we struggle with that, and I am definitely not immune to that, though I might be a bit more dopey than most. What does Celine Witcher have across the line? Not an improvement, 2/10 down, but I'm being told that Witcher actually did reset to pit lane, and I just didn't notice it, so that was the outlap. No, that definitely wasn't an out lap. That was a 2:01.9.
No, yeah,
the
that
best
was
lap
not
at
an out lap.
2:01.7. So yes, rank setter did come down pit lane reset. As far as I'm aware, Witcher did not. That lap was several tenths off the pace. Nate, you're my strategist here in the box. If you were Sleed Witcher's crew chief or engineer, would you tell them to reset, get some new tires, and go back out there and give it one last push? Or are you happy with what they're doing, going out there, trying to stay hot on the racetrack?
Well, as we look at the timing screens, they are going quicker, or they were. They're not anymore. But I think it would be come in, get fresh tires, go again, because obviously the tires will be at their best when you stick them on for the first couple of laps. Every lap you do after that, they're not as fast. You know, it's science, Jesse. You do the maths, I'll do the science. But yeah, it'd be come in, get new boots, go back out, blast it, and snatch pole away from your teammate and rival. That would be my advice.
Yes, indeed. I can't disagree with that. But either way, Sleed Witcher is determined to try and take back that pole position. What a battle between these two titans in the AM class. Don't forget, there are other AM runners. Of course, Thomas is third in class. Eris in the 828 is fourth. Marsh in the fifth place. Roberts in sixth. And, of course, Brock in seventh. Yeah, I had to recount that to make sure I was correct. As this is Cosmo Marsh, the Real-ish Racing, the hashtag Hello Cosmo #2 Ferrari, the only Ferrari in this championship today. And I quite like that paint scheme. Something about sort of a powder blue and a nice soft pink I like.
Yeah, I mean, I run some interesting colors on some cars. I don't think I'm one to really be able to judge other people's creations. My favorite part about that though is the white highlight around the headlights, which almost looks like eyeliner.
You would like some eyeliner?
Couple of big wings, couple of flicks. I'm not partial to some stylized eyeliner. Do you call it eyeliner in the States? Is that what it's called?
We do indeed, yes.
Okay, because I mean, you call a fringe bangs, and that confuses me greatly.
You're talking to a person that doesn't have whatever you are referring to. So okay.
You don't have hair, Jesse.
I mean, I do. I definitely have hair. I just I don't think it qualifies as bangs. Erwin Brock in the 99 with the best flag in the world. Don't at me.
I'm atting you right now.
16th. I mean, that bloody Welsh flag is the best.
I'm atting you right now.
It just is. It just is. If you can find me a better flag of a nation, you go ahead and tell me about that in the comment section or in the chat. But come on, there's nothing better than that.
I mean, I'm quite partial. I know it's convenient we're here, but I quite like the Japanese flag. It's literally just a red dot. That's amazing. It's so simple, but it's iconic.
Okay. Well, that red dot is meant to be the rising sun. Obviously, Japan is the land of the rising sun, and that's great and all. But it's a bit too simple. It is very iconic, though. However, it's a lovely flag indeed. But it ain't a dragon with a sword, is it?
But why would I want that?
Because it's pretty tough. It is pretty tough. You and me are going to have a long discussion after this, I feel like.
And by discussion, do you mean I'm going to scream at you until you, out of pure will to get me to stop screaming, admit you're wrong?
Correct. A normal Saturday night with you and me, Nate. Oh dear. Some of the RCI staff is now PMing me flags, and apparently there is a national flag that has an AK-47 on it. That's very interesting indeed.
Wait, what?
Yeah, listen, this news to me too, Nate. Cosmo Marsh with a 202.679 goes all the way up to 12th place as qualifying is officially ending here. All the flying laps will count. And coming around is Celine Witcher in the Bentley for one last shot at it. This will be the last shot that Witcher has to take Rangsetter and the pole. They're going to have to take 8th to do it.
Oh no. Witcher was deep into the hairpin. That's time lost. I don't think it's enough. No.
Oh, and you are correct. And Witcher, everybody else behind Witcher aborted the lap. Witcher continued and no improvement. So Hedda Rangsetter will get the AM pole position, but they will be on a row with a silver driver. Well, we told you there was going to be a point shakeup. Let's talk about the points. The Pro Championship looks like this. Mia Swinson, who won the race last week, taking a break for, I believe, SRO reasons as well, is going to not be here for the championship. I believe you said that they signed up for the championship, but either way, they are the current points leader. Sarah Dove, no matter what Dove does today, they will end up the championship leader. And of course, Rose has withdrawn for a very similar reason of focusing on other championships. We wish them the best of luck. That is all with the pro. And moving on to silver. Now, this is very interesting indeed. The heavy hitters are here today. Fury April leading Alice Horton 123 to 106, and right behind them by 3, Nicole Fox. And it is very tight indeed throughout this entire field. One bad race could see you go from first to about 5th or 6th place. Of course, Yvonne Vandenberg in 4th, April Carlsvard rounding out the top 5. Sarah Johnson, Natalie Lee, Jenny Kamugli, and Sophie Erwin the top 9, and they are all within a handful of points of each other. Sophie Erwin realistically could go from 9th place to 4th in a single race. And here are all of the AMs. We talked about the Celine Witcher earlier. Celine Witcher leading this championship 125 has just had a little bit better finishes. Anna Delsina not here today as far as I'm aware. Definitely didn't see them on the grid. Anderson in the 2, who I don't think's here either. And then there's Hedda Rangsetter, who has 96 points. This is the halfway point in the season, and they are definitely not out of this thing. And rounding out the top 5, Sierra Thomas with 89. Behind them, Charlotte Robertson, Eris, Erwin Brock, L, and Sarah Moore, the top 10. And that is the first page of the AMs. And here are the drivers that have not started a race this season. Plo and O'Brien have not started a race and are not here today either. Well, it is a smaller grid, Nate, 17 cars, but that probably is going to cut down on the incidents and actually make for some fantastic racing. They are very closely packed together on speed today.
Yeah, qualifying was it was actually a lot closer than I expected it to be. I wasn't quite sure of the gaps that we would see from front to back, but they're definitely nowhere near as big as I expected them to be, which is, well, bodes well for us for the next hour of commentary.
I'm being told that Anderson is Cosmo, and Anderson is on the grid. Thank you, Stewie, for that. Was not aware of the name change, but yes, Anderson, who was on our points table, is Cosmo on the grid today. As we're going to take you through the 17 teams that are here today. Thank you all for being here for the Diamond Drive Cup Season 2, Race 3. 6 races in the championship. We're halfway at the conclusion of today's 60-minute race. Remember, mandatory pit stop. You must take 1 liter of fuel at some point in the race. And last time out 2 weeks ago, Nate, that was a huge sticking point, a lot of penalties.
Yeah, I'm hoping we won't get as many track limit warnings here, but 130R is an absolute nightmare for it. If you just run out a little bit past the curb, the game just slam dunks you with a penalty, no questions asked. So that will be one to watch. And I think if we do get any drive-throughs, it will be because of that.
I just want to give a shout out to my buddy Nate here, who just definitely didn't drag me under the bus for something I just did. I gave credit to Stewie for letting me know that Cosmo was Anderson. That's actually you, Nate. You could have told them that. I'd have been okay with that. That is my mistake, and I definitely apologize. I was reading one message above another, and I assumed they were sent by the same person, so I definitely apologize. Nate actually pointed that out, and I've actually been told by Mr. RCI's own Harry Conway that after learning that he is going to make sure that's changed so there's no confusion in the future. So thank you, Mr. Conway, as well for that. Well, we've seen Silver Drivers win. They did 2 weeks ago at Misano. What are the keys for the 202 to win today over Sarah Dove, Nate?
I mean, you could argue it's as straightforward as not making a mistake, but we all know there's a lot more to it than that. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not sure of the tire deg between the two cars, because you could argue the way to winning is preserving your tires better, but as far as I know from Sarah Dove chatting to us not last week, sorry, it feels like only last week, 2 weeks ago now, the McLaren, or at least the setup that she's running on it, just whatever she does, the car just eats its own tires. So Fox really just needs to play it safe, not slide the car too much, and maybe stay off the curbs to preserve their tires. And potentially, if Dove is faster and Fox is like, well, I can't keep them back, try and roll them back into Fury April and get those two to have a battle, and then Fox could scupper off into the distance.
I tell you what's interesting here. Sarah Dove literally has nothing to lose. This is almost unprecedented in RCI, but that will not keep them from trying to win this race overall. I know Mia Swenson won the Pro Series, the Pro Division 2 weeks ago, last time out, but they did not win the race overall. While that doesn't strictly matter, it is a point of pride, I would imagine, for a pro driver. And I'm pretty sure Dove would very much like to do that. But even if they don't do that, it's not going to matter too much. So their real only focus is to try and win this race overall. We got a lot of people in chat, Nate, who are saying eyeliner for Nate and various other things for Nate as well. I'll have you guys know, I actually used to wear eyeliner quite frequently, in fact. They called it guy liner.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. I don't know why that does not come as a surprise to me, but it just doesn't.
Just want you to know, it was 1999 and things were different, and I had a skateboard and some skater shoes, and I was mad at my parents for rules and such, and I wore eyeliner as well.
Were you just a teenage dirtbag, baby?
I did indeed listen to Iron Maiden.
I was 5 in 1999. No? Wait, no. Am I being stupid right now? No, I was 5. Yeah, no. I was 5 in 1999. That Jesse, I think you're showing your age a little bit to the boys and girls watching this stream.
Oh boy, I'm very much the dad here at RCI. There are a few people older than me here, but I don't think none of them are on the comms. So I'm definitely the oldest person here. I always say it's not how old you are, it's what you know. And well, to be fair, Nate, you run circles around me most weeks.
You are RCI's very own dad. Jesse Lee, official RCI dad.
Oh man, get off my lawn, kids. Moving right along to the race. Anyway, the point I was trying to make, Nate, is I actually know how to do eyeliner. I can actually do your eyeliner.
Oh yeah, sure. When all restrictions are lifted, come on over. We can have a little session. You can put some eyeliner on me. We can put some wigs on you and give you some bangs. It'll be a
I
great
love it.
time.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, before we can do any of that, we have 60 minutes here in the middle part of the season. Race 3 of 6 here in the Diamond Drive Cup, Season 2. 17 cars in the field, only one pro, but the other two categories stacked today. Not a pro leading them to green, and that is Nicole Fox, who drives like a pro, but I believe self-professed to not feeling like a pro some weeks. But nevertheless, the next round racing 202 will lead them down to the green, not using the F1 start finish line that you may be so familiar with, waiting until the GT starting line. The lights go on, the flag comes down, and we are racing and already 3 wide as we go down into turn 1. Around the outside does Dove. Dove dive down the outside. It looks like they're going to get it. Meanwhile, Natalie Lee fighting to save their spot. Going to get almost turned around in 2. Gets it settled, but loses that position. And yes, it is. Sarah Dove leads.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened. We turned away to see the battle in the midfield, and Dove just seemed to disappear around the outside and disappear off. And then we saw what seemed to be Fox getting out of shape, and Fury April trying to take advantage of that to make the move. Did get alongside, but unfortunately the corner just went the opposite way, which meant they had the outside, and Fox keeps the position on the inside. As we see, one car has unfortunately dropped to the back. That's the number 7 of Sophie Erwin, unfortunately. But other than that, everyone through relatively clean.
Just a couple of bumps. I don't know exactly what happened to Sophie in the 7. I don't know if we actually caught that or not. But either way, we'll probably be able to catch that on replay. Fury April slots into the 3rd place position. Nicole Fox 2nd is already down 1 second to Sarah Dove. Dove did not have the qualifying that they would have liked, but no matter. They are in control of the race now, but Nicole Fox is not in control of first in silver quite yet.
No, but that's definitely opened it up as we see a flash of lights from Coswell there. Obviously unhappy with either a move that's happened to them or a block that was put on them. But yeah, so that's turned whatever strategy Fox may have had on its head. The first corner, immediately Dove was just there. Dove was having absolutely none of it. It was like, I refuse to sit behind you for more than 3 corners, and just got it done straight away.
That's pretty much the I have used up all of my patience on you already. Yeah. And we're still in the same sector. Very interesting. I always love to see drivers communicating with their headlights. I love seeing that because you can always tell just what they're thinking, even though they haven't said a single word. Sarah Johnson for Pineapple in the 888 in the 12th place position here. Has a bit of a train behind him. Eris would like to get away or like to get in front, but it's going to have to be single file up through the S's. Jenny Camugli back there as well. No, in fact, that is not Jenny Camugli back there. That is Eris and then Jenny as well. So yes, Jenny is coming into the picture, and Marsh, of course, is just right there. The powder blue and pink car in front, as everybody now is chasing Sarah Johnson.
Yeah, with just looking at the back of it, it's good to see there's Erwin has caught up, so maybe they can start making some moves, get themselves in the mix. As we see the lap 1 replay again.
Look at this outside move.
Fox tried to hold it there and did for the most part, but then Dove just had the inside for the start of the S's and said, I'm gone, see you later. But now
Dove dived down the inside.
Dove did indeed dive down the inside. You got it. What are we about to see here? So,
oh dear.
Carlsville just turned in a little bit, lack of spatial awareness there, unfortunately. But I get it, when you're tunneled on the car ahead, trying to not spear into the back of them, you do tend to sort of lose your peripherals. But from the offboard, it does look quite clumsy. As we see Fox absolutely nailing the curbs in an attempt to get onto the back of Dove.
It's absolutely sensational. Half a lap ago, it was a 1 second gap, and they were being pressured by April for the second place spot. Well, that's no longer the case. April's fallen off by more than half a second, and Fox completely erased that gap. It was an ever so spirited start by Dove, going around the outside and then getting in the proper position to use the inside to defend the contested position. I love the turn 1, 2, and 3 complex here at Suzuka. It's so unlike anything else, and it just works. It gives both drivers, the inside starter and the outside starter, a legitimate shot to contest the lead, and there is no general consensus on which line is better, though I might actually argue that sometimes the outside is better if you sort of look at some of the F1 starts around here. As Hedda Ranksetter, who, as you will remember, took the AM pole, continues to hold on to that, but that is Witcher in the background in the Bentley. Oh, it's going to be a move up the inside that's not going to come off, and it's going to cause everybody to bunch up. The 69 of Carlsvard is going to be through as well, and that is not what Ranksetter needed, because all that's going to do is help Witcher get up there and get in the middle. And yes, indeed, all of a sudden, Witcher is a part of this.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, they're Ranksetter trying to move on the outside, thinking that they could carry a little bit more speed, but then it just puts them a little bit too deep in the corner, and Carlsvard just holds the position. But now Carlsvard has to watch out, because the Porsche, not the best thing in a straight line. I imagine that Bentley will monster up fairly quickly, but is it going to be too little too late by the time they get to 130R? It is, yeah. Ranksetter's quite a way back, but there we are. See, cars just running a little bit wide. I talked about it on the build-up. Little bit wider than that, you will start receiving track limits, and then you have to really curb your enthusiasm.
Well, I like that reference. So the other thing is, is that going to be Ranksetter? Yes, it is. Ranksetter into the pit lane. There is no pit window here in the Diamond Drive Cup like there are at so many other RCI events. So you could pit at any time, and Hedda has decided, I don't want to be behind these cars, and I'm going to pit. I applaud that move. That might be a winning move for Hedda at the end of this race. We'll have to find out. Do keep track at home. A couple other things to watch out for: drive-through penalties for track limits violations, and of course speeding in the pit lane. It is so very easy to get the pit in wrong here. The line is very clearly stated, but the fact that it's curving and all this sort of blind walls, it can be a bit treacherous on the way in, getting on the limiter. But most importantly, I think you're going to see more than a few get it wrong in Spoon and some other corners, and get those track limits warnings to the point where drive-through, well, again, we saw that at Misano, where it absolutely changed the complexion of that race for a lot of the teams. There's going to be contact right there, contact between Thomas and Johnson, and neither one will have been wanting that.
No, that was an odd one. It looked like Cosmo tried to make the move on the inside of Witcher, and then got a little bit too deep, and Johnson sensed the opportunity to go through on the inside, and unfortunately it was a case of 2 into 1 don't go. Cosmo sliding a little bit there. That's not what they want to do. Is Johnson's going to take the inside, and they touch
more
again.
Contact.
Oh no,
that's now that right there is a frustrated driver taking it out on another driver.
Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely questionable. That's never something we like to see. You understand frustrations build, but that was an obvious squeeze. Like, Johnson knew Cosmo was there, so here we see it. So yeah, Cosmo wide, Johnson up the inside, they touch. Obviously, Johnson feels like they've been done wrong by that, and then yeah, that's not. We often talk about it here when drivers have contact, they stop, let the others go, but that was not very sportsmanlike, and I don't agree with that.
Well, I can tell you, there are no live stewards for this event, nor any event in the Diamond Drive Cup, but there is post-race adjudication and stewarding done, and they will have made note of that, and that will be frowned upon very highly indeed. That is, I think we can all agree, a little bit over the limit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's well, like I said, frustrations build, but I mean, Johnson had the whole track to the left, and they knew it, and they knew Cosmo had nowhere else to go apart from onto the gravel. That seemed like a deliberate attempt at, well, personally, the way I view it, obviously I know people will obviously chime in their 2 cents. It definitely seemed like a deliberate attempt to give Cosmo a little bit more trouble than otherwise was necessitated by the pass.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I say a lot, and I think people misconstrued as, rubbing is racing. Rubbing is racing, but intentionally being aggressive on someone out of retaliation or is a bit over the line, as it looks like Brock is going to make contact here. Does everybody save it? They do, but a bit of a strange incident there.
Yeah, I think Brock, after the contact, it looked like they slowed slightly, obviously realizing that, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. And I do believe they did allow. Right, Jesse, help me out here. Aphelion? How are we pronouncing Eris's last name? The 828.
I believe it's pronounced Aphelion.
I'm gonna say it opposite to you because you're always wrong. So it's Aphelion.
I love it. You can't hate somebody for playing the odds, folks, and neither will I. Well played, Nate, right there. I don't know what happened to Fox in the 202, but one could only assume something fairly traumatic, because they went from being right behind Dove to 1.6 seconds back, and that gap's now coming down again. It's 1.3. So we were forced to assume that either they attempted to make a move, or they made a bit of a mistake that lost them well over a second and a half. But that gap was coming down. Now it has actually went back out a little bit as well. But for Fox, they can focus purely ahead of them, because April in the 717 is now 2.3 back, and Vandenberg is a second adrift of April for the second spot, I should say. In silver, Vandenberg is in third in silver. Horton is 2.3 off the back of them. Lee and Carlsbad are still going at it for the 6th place position, and here is a fight back for the, going to be a little sideways there again, is Erwin's Mercedes. Of course, Erwin was the big loser on that initial start, getting bumped to the point where they had to hit the dirt and spun out. But they have gotten at least one spot back and is now flashing Eris in the 828, letting them know that, hey, I would like to get by. But if I am to assume racing drivers will be racing drivers, the 828's not looking in the mirror.
No, I do feel sorry for Erwin. I feel like at every single event we've been to, so the last race of Spa, the first race of Spa for season 2, there, and obviously last race, I can't remember the race in between that one. Was it, where were we? I can't remember where we were. Either way, they unfortunately always seem to find themselves in some kind of first lap melee where they always get turned around and receive some damage. So you have to feel sorry for Erwin, but that's the racing. That's the roll of the dice. Sometimes you get lucky, and sometimes you constantly get very unlucky.
Well, one thing we can see is Erwin's car does have significant damage on it, and I think April's Carlsbad's left side of her Porsche, the Realish Racing 69, I think there's damage on that Porsche. Not on the right side, but on the left side. Unless that's just the paint job and the reflection messing with me. But
no,
I know,
I do agree. There is some scuffs and scrapes along the side there.
Yeah, I knew there was contact, but it is not deterring Carlsbad from trying to get around Lee here. Erwin still trying to get around Eris in the 828 now. Still not being able to get that pass done.
That Mercedes is heavily damaged, isn't it? You can see all the scuffs and scrapes all over it. Erwin going for the send there, trying to.
Erwin's turned. Oh no! Oh no! Perhaps the flashing has got to Eris, and the 828 hard into the wall, into the hairpin, or exiting the hairpin. The flashing of the lights, Erwin turned the brights on, which is what you see there, and then just loses it coming out of the corner. Look.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Is that the kick of torque on the curb just unsettled the car and just one-way ticket straight into the barrier. So unfortunate again. Unfortunately, Arias, another driver who seems to run out of luck fairly commonly. Would that make sense in a sentence? I don't know. I'm sure all the English majors out there will tell me I'm wrong. But yeah, Arias, another driver you sometimes feel quite sorry for, because through no fault of their own, they do seem to find themselves in tricky situations.
Well, this is the battle for the lead. Sarah Dove, who was out qualified by Fox, then got around Fox in the 1-2-3 section of turns on the opening lap. It was as close as 1/10, and now it is constantly ebbing and flowing out. It's about as large as it's ever been to this point, though, a 1.9, which is strange because it was 1.2 a sector ago. Is Fox just pushing a little bit too hard, or is that McLaren absolutely bonkers in one particular sector, you wonder?
Yeah, it's I don't really know, because as Stewie whispers in our ears oh so passionately, their lap times are fairly similar. I've been watching. Dove's fastest lap is 4 tenths faster than Fox's, but the last few laps have been relatively similar within a tenth of each other. So I think it's like you said, one car has the advantage in one sector, the other in the other, and then it's neutralized in maybe perhaps the third sector. I don't really know, but it's gonna be an interesting one to watch. It's who's gonna pit first to get fresh tires to see if they can get the undercut, and who stays out in hopes they have fresher tires towards the
Do you
final
think they're
few
taking
laps.
tires?
I mean, I would. And I think after last race, Dove complaining that her car was just losing pressure in all of the tires, I think she'll take tires, but will Fox? But then again, that's a gamble. Okay, yeah, it's 30 seconds in the pits, but if you're losing 2 or 3 seconds a lap to the car on fresh tires, you know, they could catch you fairly quickly.
Well, gonna get some POV cameras here. 43 minutes of the race left into the first Degner here. Very important that you hit this curb. You talk about corners that you can only really take one way. This is definitely one of them, Degner 1 and Degner 2 for that matter. You're going to want to get as much on that curb as you can and over onto the green if you like. Certain cars will respond well to that, others will not. And the reason you want to get that angle, start all the way to the left over near the wall and come as hard as you can to the right, getting all of the curb that you possibly can and using all the runoff too that's behind the camera right before you get into the sand. That's what you want to do, but frequently it goes a bit wrong. You either don't hit the curb correctly, or you get too much of the curb, or you're carrying a little bit too much speed and you make it to the sand. The Degner is one of the most dangerous corners, underrated too, in my opinion, as far as danger corner. A lot of moves that are tried there that don't come off. Speaking of moves being made, Sophie Erwin and the 7 making their way back through the field in the Dunlop hairpin, gets the pass done, and I don't think the 11 there was attempting to fight that at all.
No, it looked like they were a bit squirrely coming into the hairpin. So maybe just realizing that, okay, I've made a mistake, I'm slow. There's no point me fighting this because it would just end in an accident. But on the flip side, they could also be friends, and one is doing the other a favor. So we won't know until we ask after the race.
Natalie Lee into the pit lane. second taker, actually not our second taker, what am I saying? Thomas and Eris have also been in the pit lane, and now our first taker in the silver class, number 19 of Lee, in the pit lane. Nate, I love you to death, but on the racetrack, I wouldn't cut you any favors.
Oh, that's not nice. I would help you out, buddy. I can't believe you
In
feel
that case,
way.
I changed my answer because I feel bad.
No, I agree. I mean, in certain events, I help friends, especially in endurance events when they've either pitted and they've come out behind me or they're lapping me. I will never ever make their life easy. Difficult. However, if they're in a battle with someone, I will immediately jump out of their way and then, oh no, sorry, there's a couple of corners coming up. I'm so slow. I'm sorry. And now I'll let you go. Sorry, bud. You go chase down that second and a half. You just lost.
Do you know, in Night Owl season 1 here on RCI TV, we saw some help each other out. You know it happens.
Yeah, like I said, in the endurance events, we help each other out. We're not so blatant and so annoying that that we'll crawl around and park the car on apexes, but it's sort of like there's a sequence of fast corners coming up that you could blitz if I wasn't in the way. I guess I'll blitz them with you, and I'll just cost you those extra few temps just so my teammate can run off in the distance. But yeah, it's never, oh, I'm literally going to swerve across the track to make sure you don't pass me. After said few temps have been held up, I mean, myself and my fellow car teammates always get out of the way when it's safe to do so.
My absolute favorite thing to do is, for instance, we'll use Bathurst, as we see Sarah Johnson here has caught the back of Witcher. We use Bathurst, for instance. Once we get to one of the straightaways, the Conrad, perhaps, I'll let you go. But I'm maybe not going to be going 100% through Skyline, the S's, and all of that. I'm probably not going to be going 100%. Then I'll let you go. And at that point, if somebody asks, why were you slowing them up? Be like, hey, I let them pass the first chance I got. And that is a bulletproof alibi. If you are going to execute multi-21, have an alibi.
Have an alibi. So would you say, for example, if you we'll use Bathurst as an example, my dear friend Jesse, if you were, say, I don't know, the car in P2, and I don't know, maybe the car in P5 wanted to get past you, but it was your friend that was in P4 and you were between them, would you hold up the P5 car?
It depends on how much I like the friend, or how much they're paying me. But maybe it is a distinct maybe. I will not confirm nor deny the fact that has already happened before, simply based on personal feelings. Pass being attempted here. Sarah Johnson for Pineapple on Celine Witcher didn't come off in the triangle, and well, Johnson's going to have a bit of a rethink here as they're nose to tail down the front straightaway. They might have a shot into one. There's no bad option into one. You could make this pass on the inside or the outside. It's going to be a decidedly inside call, late break maneuver perhaps. Conceded is going to be Witcher around the outside. Thought that Johnson was going to lick the stamp. Johnson didn't lick the stamp, but sold them a dummy almost and gets through.
Yeah, it definitely did look like a send, as you say, lick the stamp. That's a Ricardo move, but ultimately it was controlled by Johnson, and there was never any sort of danger of them sending a dive bomb down the inside. But it was enough of a spook, as we see two cars coming together. Not quite, but yeah, it was enough of a spook that who was it? Was it Witcher? Yeah, Witcher sort of thought better of holding the line, and it just allowed the easy move to hold the inside for both the corners for Johnson.
Well, this is important for Hedda Rangsetter to get that pass done, get around the 5 car. That will make them the leading AM on the road. And that was well done. It's completely sideways is Thomas there in the 5. Luckily, that didn't happen when they were side by side. No harm, no foul. Everybody still pointed the right way. And Rangsetter eyes are set on the cars in front. There's only about 6.6 seconds between Hedda and Lee. And if they were able to get there, that would put them in the lead of all the cars that pitted, not just the ones that they're racing for points. Speaking of racing for points, don't know if Salid Witcher is suffering from any particular ailment on the Turn 1 Diamonds number 12 Bentley, but I can't help but notice that they are backing up to Marsh in the number 2 Ferrari, only about a second behind. And of course, a lot of that could be the fact that Witcher is trying to fight Johnson here, or was fighting Johnson here.
Jesse, would you like some inside info?
I would love it.
Hot and spicy off the press. So, I believe Celine's spotter told her to let Johnson by, as Johnson was the faster car and kept putting the spook on.
Interesting. See, and that's the opposite there. I mean, that's we have a not so elegant term for that in the United States in racing. We call it co-opetition, and where you cooperatively competing with other people with your competition, co-opetition, and I don't mind that at all. I've certainly never had a problem with that. I've been the receiver and the giver of that as well. Oh, you ran me down. I'm aware of what the gap is. I don't want to mess with you. And who knows, that might help. It did, how wide they went in turns 1 and 2, that did catch Marsh up quite a bit. But hopefully Johnson's able to get away. They certainly haven't in the lap or so that after the pass. So that would be a bit concerning for Witcher there, I would think, because now Marsh is breathing down the back of the Bentley in the Ferrari now. But here is Nicole Fox, the pole sitter of the race, current leader in silver. No real challengers from behind. Fury April is 4+ seconds back at this time. If you're Nicole Fox, have you given up your pursuit of the overall lead right now, Nate, or are you still trying?
Oh, I am absolutely still trying. In my head, I'm going, right, okay, they're pulling away from me. They must be driving harder than me, so they'll use their tires up. So then I'll catch them when they start to struggle on their tires. Yeah, that'll be it. And because they're going to use their tires up, that means they're going to have to stop for more tires. While I'm sitting here running my race, and my tires feel great. My tires feel fine. These feel brand new. I don't need to stop for tires. Yeah, no, I'll get them when they stop. Yeah, no, it's fine. I got this. That would be my exact thought process.
I couldn't agree more. I am still attempting to pursue Dove, though Dove seems to have found a groove now. And I also can't help but notice that April has closed in on Fox a little bit. Vandenberg was for 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, right on the back of Fury April, but has also fallen off of that battle. 2.3 back is Vandenberg, holding on to the final step in the silver podium.
I think it's fairly interesting that Witcher was told to let Johnson through, but Johnson doesn't seem to be pulling a gap from Witcher. Witcher is still hanging in there about half a second, and it's been this for a few laps now, so I'm just wondering if maybe Johnson fighting back through the field, again, this seems to be my go-to at the moment, Johnson may have used up all of her tires, and now, because Witcher has sort of been floating in free air doing their own race, has fresher tires to be able to stay with it, as the gap does jump up to a second. So maybe I'm wrong. We'll go with a hard maybe. How about that one?
I'll take a hard maybe. And in addition to that, I've actually just been informed by Harry Conway that we do have overall standings now, in addition to the classes. So there's class wins at play, but also an overall, so everybody's lumped into one. Fury April is currently leading that. Of course, we didn't have any points tables to show you for that at the start, but yeah, so there is an overarching point system now. Apparently, the drivers asked for it. I don't know what this is about RCI, but a lot of times I find the drivers ask for something that we haven't thought of, and we just go, "Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that." And I think Harry Conway's done just that with overall points.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of the discussion, but then I thought, well, that's not my discussion to have. I'm not part of said championship. But as you said, I guess it's been arranged and put into place. So that's gonna spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, so Fury April, just in case anyone's wondering, this is all the classes ranked together, all on the same points table. Fury April has 109 points. Sarah Dove has 106. And apparently, magically, we will have those standings for you. So I'm going to go and talk about something completely different. Sarah Dove, the 177 Les Race McLaren, running away with it here now. Qualified second, took the lead early, and has led ever since. For all of you out there, thank you for watching this broadcast of RCI TV. We hope that you're enjoying the race as much as we are enjoying having you, and invite you, of course, like and subscribe. And here are the combined points championship. These are without, of course, there's of course without the different classes, despite it saying pro up there. Don't worry about that. Like I said, Fury April has 109 points. Sarah Dove has 106. Mia Swenson, who's not here today, has 101. Alice Horton has 95. And rounding out the top five is Rose with 69. And of course, that's very interesting indeed, because look how closely packed they are, Nate. Nicole Fox, Carlsbad, Delsina, who's not here, Vandenberg, and Witcher, just to name the top 10. That is a lot of close drivers.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it just takes one bad race and you can lose so many positions. I mean, even the 11th to 20th is still fairly close. So, I mean, we're definitely going to see people making big jumps, and obviously other competitors making big drops. So, yeah, this has definitely made it a little bit more interesting for us all, hasn't it?
Of course, there is still the championship for each individual class, but we also, of course, have an overall as well. And now that I see that, the answer is duh. Why didn't we have that? That's fantastic. So the rules for the drivers haven't changed. You're still racing for class victory, but there is a overall championship as well that you could potentially win. So somebody here in this field, you would assume, not guaranteed, but you would assume, is going to have a double championship win in 3 races time.
Do they get 2 trophies? What are we seeing here? Rank setter.
So that was orchestrated by Ringsetter there, who wanted nothing to do with that in the Degners.
That was really good. Who's this? Oh, April on the back of Fox. So what's happened here?
I think you're right about some of the tires falling off. Not only for Johnson, I think it's happening to Nicole to Fox now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, April all over the rear wing of that Audi, absolutely jinking left, right, trying to find a way to get past. Going, you're holding me up now. You were faster than me. I've closed you down. Just let me go.
Question from the chat: only one Ferrari. What's wrong with the Ferrari? Is it not competitive? No, the Ferrari is competitive, and the unfortunate news is that we've had several other Ferraris in the championship that just didn't show today. So there usually are more than one. I think there's at least 3 in the championship. I think there was 3 last time out at Misano, but unfortunately they are not here this particular weekend, or this Wednesday, because it is Wednesday. So yes, unfortunately they're just not here today. I wouldn't say the Ferrari is uncompetitive. I think it's actually fairly decent indeed. as we continue to watch Nicole Fox, who is ailing here. I think it's very clear to see Fox ailing very heavily over Fury April, who is the overall championship leader in the 717.
Yeah, I think if April can get a good run out of the chicane here and maybe just tuck up in the slipstream, they've definitely got a chance of sending on Fox into turn one. But it seems that Fox also knows that and got a decent run out of the chicane. But this is going to get quite interesting now. So I would say everyone has to stop for tires, or well, maybe not everyone, but certainly Fox will have to, or she'll just plummet down the order. But the problem is now, again, if Fox holds up April, Vandenberg's going to start getting into the mix.
Is very interesting indeed, isn't it? I didn't realize how much potential degradation or pace loss there was, but maybe there is. We didn't really talk about the weather because there wasn't much to talk about. It's completely cloudy. We don't expect that to change. In fact, now we know it won't change. Track's optimum and 19 degrees C. Pretty much a perfect day for racing, so nothing crazy in the weather today. But of course, like I was saying earlier, if you enjoy GT3 racing, why not like and subscribe, hit the bell, and join us for all races. We'll be back with you tomorrow with some fantastic GT4 racing. George G. Max Smith and Sam anchoring that, and then I'll be with you on Friday for the Friday GT World Championship with Mr. Mike Jones. And of course, Night Owl mercilessly returns after a 2-week absence. I'll be with you with that with Mr. Ryan Mawson. And of course, the Monday Porsche Championship, got 3 different kinds of Porsche in that as well. We would love to see you back for all of those races. And of course, a big thank you to all of our partners here at RCI, Race Department, AK Informatica, Raceface, Speed Labs, and Sim Racing GP. More information about all those fantastic folks in the description, and also in the description, the link to the Discord. You don't just have to watch, you can get involved. Join us. We have a split for you, whether you are a esports alien or just starting your sim racing career. We have a split for you, and we would love to have you over at RCI Racing. All that information in the description and found on the Discord. And I think nothing summarizes all of what I said more than this race in particular. Diamond Drive does such a great job of that. We've got pros, silvers, AMs, and even a couple of true AMs as well. That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and the like you mentioned at the start, everyone here is here because they want to have fun. Obviously, yeah, there's the competitive element. Everyone's competitive, especially in sim racing. But at the end of the day, the people leave here and go, oh, that was a good race, I enjoyed that. Not, oh, I've lost so many points, I'm never going to win the championship now, why bother turning up? And everyone is friendly. We have chats with them after the race, and a few of them have said, you know, it's so not relieving. What's the word I'm looking for? I know what I'm trying to say. Basically, everyone really likes the fact that they can all go in a chat room at the end of the race and have a talk with one another, because they don't see that in other series because of how seriously everyone takes themselves. So it's just a relaxed place to be.
Yeah, well, I know a few drivers that are going to have a tense conversation after this, after the earlier contact we saw. So it's going to be very interesting indeed to see how that goes if they choose to have said conversation. But to your point, they've been all the drivers in the Diamond Drive, barring a few, I was unaware of coming into season 1, and I gotta say, been very, very humbling to meet them and just enjoy not only the racing, but how down to earth they all are, and how supportive they are of each other as well is pretty impressive. And we talked about it for the first 2 weeks, and we'll continue to do so as Fury April comes in to do their mandatory pit stop. Fantastically slowed down at the line, 50 Ks in the pit lane here. Oh, was that an attempted? No, it was not. I thought that they were going to try and do a move on the inside, but nearly ran into the pit wall. Was that a case? Oh, they were sideways. Very well caught, Stewie, there. I thought something looked odd about that, and indeed, absolutely was. But I got to say, the investment from the RCI staff here in a lot of these drivers, I think it says it all. You don't really see that anywhere else, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it is nice to see, and like I said earlier, obviously a lot of our races here go off and do other things, and it's just the atmosphere that makes this championship really what it is. Obviously, it's nice that we've got women and non-binaries here, so it's an even more relaxed atmosphere for some of these people who might often feel intimidated. I don't think is quite the right word, but uncomfortable in other leagues, and a lot of these drivers have created nice relationships with one another, and hopefully when season 2 is all said and done, they'll go off and continue to race together.
I'll tell you what probably made them really uncomfortable was day one when I busted in and asked them a million questions about their race teams and where they came from, and if it was okay if I talked about them on stream. That was probably different for all of them, and they if they hated me for that, they've definitely forgiven me by now. But they were very, very hospitable and forthcoming with little snippets about their racing careers and stuff like that, and made me feel right at home as well too. So, and that's kind of what we were going for. So, mission accomplished, I feel like. And some of the racing here, and case in point, racing for what effectively is not last here, very intense indeed, coming down to the wire.
Yeah, I think as we see Fox taking their stop, so yes, this will be interesting to see how they do it. But yeah, I feel like fighting for last place is just as intense as fighting for first place, because you don't want to be the person who finishes last. Like, oh, there was no one behind me. That's a little bit disappointing. So, yeah, I feel like there's like, it's so much more intense. I'm gonna be honest. I fighting for last place is more intense than fighting for first place. Don't at me.
I can't disagree with that. You'd prefer to be first, but you definitely don't want to be last. And I don't know about you, but I always tend to forget where I am on the track a lot of the time. And there's moments of clarity on the straightaway where I refocus, but if I see a car in front of me, I'm just sort of trying to get at them. And the 99 of Brock is just absolutely loose off of every corner. How they are holding that BMW, I will never quite understand. Excellent car control. Look at it again. Absolutely take off in the Dunlop hairpin.
I think the BMW was getting out of the way for Alice Horton for as a lapped car.
I see. Either way, just a very strange moment indeed. As a little peek behind the curtain here, our entire broadcast and race admin staff are now arguing over pit strategy. Consider how invested, like I said, they are in this series. This is very uncommon that they come into our chat, Nate, and they start fighting amongst themselves about the race at hand. It's very interesting to see, and it always seems to happen at Diamond Drive Cup of all things. As Eris does pretty much the same exact thing. It's going to get repaid. Their kindness is going to get repaid with a bump there.
Yeah, that was little nip and tuck there. Like you said, Robin is racing. It's what can you do? But I think obviously we talked about how the Lexus shot off from the Dunlop hairpin, but I pointed out they were being lapped. The BMW was being lapped. I think Brock's plan was let Horton through, and then when Horton goes past Aphelion, oh I forgot, cheese bees. I'm gonna ask them how they pronounce their name. Aphelion, that they could then sneak through, just tucked up behind Horton, but that would have been my plan. So I like to assume everyone thinks like me, but not many people do. But that would have been my plan, and I'm wondering if Brock had the same idea and it just didn't quite come off.
Well, what I can say is that calculated move did not cause Brock at all, really. They're right where they were prior to the faster car coming through. You always hate it when you attempt to do the right thing and end up being the one that loses time. Well, that's not the case there, fighting for the 16th place position. Cosmo Marsh, though, not fighting for 16th. They are fighting for the 13th place position and the only Ferrari out on track today. And I thought for a second Brock was going to show them the nose. Thought better of it. And single file through Spoon.
Yeah, that almost quite looked like there was going to be contact there. I do enjoy it. Show them the nose.
Is that not a thing where you're from?
I can't say I've heard it, but maybe I have, and I'm just a bit scatterbrained. But that definitely made me chuckle. Show them the nose. It sounds like a move, doesn't it?
Oh dear. Well, we talked about it. We talked about the drive-through penalties that could change this race and the championship today, and it is going to be the case. Overall championship leader Fury April in the 717 drive-through penalty.
That's it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, it's sort of like, you know, get one. It's like, whoa, that was a little bit of a send. That almost paid off really well. That would have been a fantastic move if they'd pulled that one off, but not quite, unfortunately. But yeah, I'd kind of track limit 1 and 2. Yeah, you're racing hard. Keep at it, champ. Track limit 3. Okay, you need to stop now. You need to start coming like 10 clicks slower into these corners than you have been. But yeah, unfortunately, it's, you know, the game stewards track limits, and it has decided Fury April has had one too many out of bound plays.
Well, the worst part about that, as our broadcaster pointed out, is that was a mega move by April on the pit stop to get around Fox for what we could only assume would be the silver win. Well, it's going to come undone. Fox is going to get that position back, and April will not have a shot at an overall win here today because of that drive-through, and the leader is in the pit lane.
Yeah, so let's oh, that's a bump. That's a bump. That's 2 bumps. No, come on. That was a whole space to the right. That's so unfortunate. Let's see it. Let's see it again. So Brock got the run. As we see, I think I'm going a little bit wide. And then they both go left. Oh, okay. On board, it looked a little bit worse than that. But that's a 6 of one, half a dozen of another, to be fairly honest with you. It definitely looked a lot worse on board. So I will retract my statement. I will apologize for my outburst. Once you see it on the off board, it does look a little less worse. But what can you do when you're fighting for last place? It's more intense than fighting for first.
I think you just blew my mind. Is the opposite of onboard offboard? Is that true? Either way, I just blew my mind. I agree with you. That looked a lot more malicious in the in-car camera that we had versus the other. That was just a move, a defensive move by Eris in the 828, and unfortunately, I feel like 828 paid for it.
Yeah, it was with both drivers could have done something different that would have completely avoided that outcome. And I'm sure both drivers are sat there going, why didn't the other driver do the thing that they should have done to avoid this contact? Obviously, I would imagine Aris is a lot more frustrated and angry than Brock is. But unfortunately, it's, when you're in the heat of battle, it's very easy to sit here in the comm box with our air conditioning and our comfy seats and go, oh, you should have done that. That wouldn't have happened that way. But when you're in the car, you're hot, you're stressed, well, maybe not miserable, because I feel like you can't really be miserable blasting around Suzuka in a GT3 car. But you don't have the benefit of the hindsight and the lovely replay system and track cameras that we have.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things that I'm sure the stewards will take a look at that post-race like everything else. And unfortunately, I think the stewards are going to have a little bit of extra work this week than they actually sort of become accustomed to, and a lot more difficult decisions. Personally, I feel like the 828 maybe went a little bit too late, and then at that point, the BMW of Brock had decided that nope, this is my move I'm making. I am very curious though how the stewards are going to judge that. Will they judge that the 99 made avoidable contact, or the 828 did a late block that resulted in them having an incident? We'll have to find out. Cosmo Marsh here trying to make this move very deep into the corner was Thomas, but the move not made. No. As even though the 5 missed the corner, they couldn't get by him.
No, I don't think the 5 did miss the corner. We've been watching this battle on and off, obviously flicking between other action. Thomas takes that line into the hairpin, and it gives them a faster exit to hold their position. If you notice, they're always deep into it, but then they straighten the car out and launch on the exit. And on the outside, they just seem to pull away. So I've said it before that they've gone deep in the corner, but they do it every lap. So I think that may be their line, and it does seem to be working for them.
That's a very interesting take. I had not necessarily noticed that. I know a lot of times when you miss the corner and you stay on the outside, you end up getting such a run that it negates the inside's advantage. And we have just one car left to pit. It is going to be the 25 of Horton. Alice Horton leads the race currently in the 25, the only car not to pit. And it is going to be Dove in second place with Fox in third. They should cycle back around to first and second, you would assume. I mean, it's almost an inevitability. Dove's only about 2 seconds or so behind Horton as it stands.
Right. Here we go. Mr. Jesse Lee, RCI dad. Let's see how Thomas takes this corner. Watch this be the one time they do not go deep. Yep. What are the chances
Every
of
single
that?
time. Every
what
single
are the
time.
chances of that? God damn it, Thomas!
Every single time here we try to prove a point, we get proven wrong. Earlier I was mentioning that the fastest way, or the best way to go through the Degners, is to take as much curb as possible, and half the cars decided that that was not the right decision, and we came to the conclusion that missing the apex, or the inside apex of the Dunlop chicane, or not chicane, the Dunlop hairpin, was a smooth move. And then they decide, well, I would very much like to be on the inside apex this time. You can't fake this stuff, folks. Live TV.
What was that? The Lexus? No, that's a Mercedes. Is that our one and only Sofiero? And it is. Let's see. Way. Oh. Well, I mean, walls were avoided, so I mean, all in all, that's just a code brown.
Well, it is so easy to lose it in 130R. It is something that I've done more often than I would like to admit. And so easy just to break traction. Dove had caught up to Horton. And that's what you saw there. Horton in the Lamborghini diving into the pit lane to complete their mandatory stop. Dove reassumes the lead. And that will bring Fox through. And I assume Carlsvard as well will go through. We'll have to pay attention to that. We continue to watch Cosmo Marsh fight Sierra Thomas here for what appears to be the 12th place position, but more importantly to them, the third and final step on the AM podium. And I think in 3 laps, Nate, we have seen Sierra take that corner 3 different ways.
I mean, it's good to mix it up. It's good to have different ways to approach a racetrack for depending on what kind of mood you're in. So Sierra just demonstrating that there is not one single racing line, but multiple racing lines.
Celine Witcher leads in AM over Hedda Ringsetter, who's caught up. It's only about 2 seconds now. That's doable in the final 5 minutes of this race. Pay attention to what the 818 and their gap is to the 12 in front of them. And we are going to pay attention to the battle between Horton and Lee now. Horton out of the pit lane, down to the 5th place position, and under immediate attack from from Natalie Lee, for the 5th place position. Fury April, by the way, who was running 2nd in silver, 3rd overall, all the way down to 7th now after that devastating drive-through.
Yeah, I would be, like you said, devastated if it happened, but ooh, that's not the racing line, Alice. Track is over here. But yeah, no, like you said, devastating. It's for lack of any proper words, and so I just repeat myself. It's soul destroying, really, because you run your race, you do what you need to do, and unfortunately, I suppose you only have yourself to blame for track limits, but one too many, and it takes it all away from you.
You cannot lose your sharpness here. I know this is a very demanding racetrack, Suzuka, and a 1-hour race isn't the longest, but it feels like you've ran a marathon. And here comes Natalie Lee down to the inside through turns 1 and 2. And it's going to be wide, is going to be Alice Horton. Horton wide, I would assume unintentional, but you never are quite sure.
I think
that look intentional to you, Nate?
No, I think it was the case again. We saw it with was it Johnson and Witcher? You just you show them the nose, and you can put the frighteners on them.
Are you? I'm sorry. Are you making fun of moi?
I would never do such a thing, Mr. Al Roge.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you something. If I look that phrase up after this race is over, and I realize that's just something that hillbillies from where I'm from say, I'm going to be a little bit embarrassed. But I was fairly certain that was a colloquial term.
It may well be, and like I said, I've probably heard it, but I just I'm choosing as it stands right now to ignore it.
I'm a little offended, I'll admit. What happened here to Celine Witcher? Of course, Celine fighting Hedda for the AM win. Coming up to a car in front, late braking. And obviously, I think it's obvious to you and me as well. The 2 cars of the number 12 and the 118, they're teammates, but I don't think that's going to keep Hedda from trying to win this race.
No, definitely not. They're well, seeing double once again, but it only takes a small twitch from Witcher or going real deep into the chicane like that. Oh, what happened there to Ringsetter in the background?
What on earth?
That was such a weird move. Or a weird accident, sorry.
I can only assume it was something in the real space that caused that, because it's not like they bounced off a curb. They just stopped steering.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Oh, we're being told that perhaps a little bit of traction loss in the turn into the chicane, and they were unable to get full control back, is what we're told. So it wasn't my original thought. It was actually them getting loose, but from that camera angle, it was very hard to see that. But well spotted either way, as it is the last lap of the race. Final squabbling for points and positions are occurring, including this one between Thomas and Marsh for the third place in the AM class.
Yeah, it's not. These two have been going at it for a few laps now. Right, here we go, folks. Buckle up. We're about to see another line into the hairpin.
Surely there's no more than 3. Nate, I'm going to be honest with you. If I see another line through the hairpin, I'm going to lose it. I don't think there is one. I'd love to see it.
I need coaching.
I need coaching no matter what I do, but I feel like that's a 4th line. I feel like that wasn't quite as high as there otherwise could have been. What happened to Jenny Kamugli going off in the second Degner? It's going to get passed by the triple. No, that's not the AAA. Oh, no! That's a massive crash coming out of the Degner.
That is a 888.
That is the 888. Okay, I didn't. The number didn't look right to me on the replay, and it might have not been, but that was indeed the Banana Team 888 of Sarah Johnson. Banana.
Do you mean pineapple?
Pineapple. That is what I mean. I do apologize.
Oh, no.
I've been up studying for finals. That's not an excuse. It's just the truth.
Oh, poor Kamugli losing a couple of positions there now. That's a shame, really.
It is an absolute shame for Jenny Kamugli, who has sat on podiums in the GTR and has done incredibly well. Unfortunately, not on the cards today. As time has expired, everybody on the final lap, and trying to locate the 177. But yes, indeed, Sarah Dove for Les Race in the 177. It's going to be a brilliant day. It didn't start out as a win, and look at this, pushing the car across the line.
The old bump draft.
Well, for Sarah Dove, out-qualified by Fox today, dealt with the situation immediately into turn 1 and 2 and set a pace.
This is going to be close. Feel like
April Carlsbad getting really close here, as close as you like. God. Into the triangle, nearly contact, excellently avoided. Fox comes home second, winning silver. Carlsbad third, and second in silver. Vandenberg will be promoted to a podium in silver. Well done indeed. And Natalie Lee comes across the line, as well as Alice Horton. Fury April will be next. The fight between Witcher and Rangsetter cooled off dramatically, and they will come home 8th and 9th, 1st and 2nd respectively in AM. And the team that wins together takes photo ops together, apparently, with the 12 and the 1A1.
Absolutely. But yeah, so Rangsetter got the pole, but then team rivalry, which just said I'm not having that, and stole the win, the class win and the bragging rights in that team away from Rangsetter, as we see these three come across the line. Oh, poor old Kamugli. Go on, more. Go on, Kamugli, dear. You can do it.
I'm a GTR fan, and the Gazilla 95 is a fantastic painted car. A lot of people will say purple and orange don't go together, but, well, if you say that, you don't have a seat at my dinner table. I love the GTR. I love the car.
People who say that must not know what good colors look like.
Apparently not. Well, it's a battered car today on the penultimate lap of the race. The hazard flashers going off on the car. Sarah Dove attempted to push Kamugli across the line, but that would have worked had Dove pushed them and then crossed the line to put them out of their misery. But either way, a finish for Jenny Kamugli won't be what they were looking for. Last in silver today, and the results confirmed for another week. And well, we promised you a shakeup in the points. I came on air today talking about a shakeup in the points. Well, you've seen it in all three classes today.
It was it's definitely there was maybe the not quite the action I was expecting, but definitely towards the end of the race, it definitely picked up a little bit.
Well, the only thing predictable about the Diamond Drive Cup is that it is unpredictable. As we show you the highlights of the race, the big one, of course, was Fox out qualifying Dove, and Dove dived down the outside, then dived down the inside into the S's, and getting the pass made. And it was an excellent job indeed. Squabbling in the middle of the pack, the 7 here getting spun off the track, contact with the 888, a few other cars accordion together, but that would be the end of major dramas for quite some time, and the 777 would recover. Well, it was just about as interesting as a race as you could have expected. I won't know until sometime this weekend what the points look like. The introduction of the overall championship as well as in class. And we will keep you up to date on all of that as well. And of course, our next race in 2 weeks, Nate. Of course, this is a bi-weekly championship.
Absolutely, and I'm very, very much looking forward to the next event, purely on the fact that it's Paul.
The sarcasm is huge. The sarcasm is huge with Nate there, but we will be at Paul Ricard in 2 weeks, and I know what you're thinking. That's not the best track in the world, and you may be correct. But I have a feeling that you are going to see a tightly packed field that are going to be going 3 and 4 wide down the back straight.
I tell you what, I'm looking forward to is
yes,
is California on June 16th. I'm really looking forward to that one. I just had a quick peek at the calendar to see where we were going after
Laguna Seca. Yeah, Laguna Seca is going to be interesting. You're going to see a bunch of drivers on a very tight track, the tightest track in the sim. Ooh, I didn't realize how sideways the 5 got right there. Sierra Thomas having to save the car there with contact with the 888. But either way, we'd like to thank all of you for joining us for today's broadcast. Once again, if you like the stream, like, subscribe, hit the bell. We'll be back with you on Thursday for some GT4 racing. Sam and George G. Mac Smith with that. And, of course, the Friday GT World Championship with Mike Jones and myself. And Night Owl returns on Saturday. The Monday Porsche Championship on Monday as well. And we hope that you join us for that. Thank you to all of our partners again, Race Department, AK Informatica, Raceface, Speed Labs, and Sim Racing GP. Find all of their info in the description. And, of course, the link to the Discord. Join the Discord. Get involved. We have more than you can more than just watch. You can join us there. No matter if you're an esports alien or just starting out, we would love to have you race with us on a weekly basis too. Nate, final thoughts.
It was a cracking race from Dove. Honestly, Dove did everything they needed to do to take the victory here. From pretty much from the first corner, maybe there was a little bit of a scare coming a few laps in, but other than that, I'd say they pretty much had it under control for the entire race. Unfortunately, as we see there, a couple of incidents for some drivers, you got to feel sorry for them. A couple of drivers definitely need to have a touch up on their racing etiquette, I think, from what we've seen. But overall, some really, really good racing, especially towards the end.
Yes, indeed, it was. And, well, we're halfway into the championship. 3 races down, 3 races to go. On behalf of everybody here at RCI, the broadcaster, Stewie, I've been Jesse Lee here with one of my favorite commentators, Nate. And we will see you in 2 weeks from Paul Ricard for round number 4. Until then, have a good night. Have a good rest of your week. And we'll see you at Paul Ricard.